Welcome back, friends. Another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles brings us another exciting portal. This time around, what did they bring us? It is Three Kingdoms once more, and it will be featuring a brand new hero, of course, in Chong. Okay, so it looks like we're getting another green one this time around. It is going to be a rogue again. A reminder of what we're getting for our family bonus is a bonus for 1, 2, or 3 heroes, and they gain plus 50, plus 60, or plus 70% critical chance. This is really a huge amount of critical, which is fantastic because these guys play off criticals a lot in their build setup, so we'll get into that next. So there you go. And then down here in our passes department, we get Cleanse on critical strike attack. When this character scores a critical hit with their special skill, they safely cleanse the latest cleansable status element from all allies. This effect can activate once per turn. So obviously when attacking, it's better for these guys to attack multiple targets, mostly because you have a higher chance to crit and get that cleanse in. Okay, then down here we get Righteous Rebellion as our second passive. It's going to be when this character's special skill hits a target that had higher current HP, they gain 20% boosted health. And then also when this character is hit by a special skill of a character that had higher current HP, they gain 20% mana. Each of these effects can activate once per turn. Okay, so offensively, if you take on targets with more health when you're attacking, you will gain a 20% heal, which is really cool. Now, defensively, if these guys are hit by someone who is stronger than them, they're going to gain that 20% mana, pushing them that much closer to their special. It is a very good special, and people forget about it all the time, which pushes these guys into going off at inconvenient moments and getting kills in when it's not expected. So I do really appreciate that as well. And last but not least, we get the Resist Bleed effect. This character is immune to status elements that deal bleed damage. Okay. So really awesome passive package for these Outlaws. That's one of the main reasons they're so popular. Also over here in Aether Power, we do get attack up. So for the first 6 turns, you are going to be able to do a little bit stronger attacks. You get that 20% increased attack rating. Now, operating down here in our special, we get Storm of Blades, which will be at fast speed. So we'll probably make good use of that Aether Power. It says it's going to, well, first of all, it says this special skill has a chance to deal critical hits, which is pretty cool. And as you click on the little button here, it's going to say the critical hits caused by this special skill deal 50% more damage, and the critical hits can reduce enemies' max health in PvP battles. This effect is stronger against boosted health targets. So it is very cool that this guy, when he attacks, is going to have the possibility of reducing the max health if he crits, and when his crits go off, they do 50% more damage, which is significant. All right, so damage-wise, we're doing 270% damage to all enemies. Not the strongest hit out there, but it is to all enemies, which will trigger a higher chance to crit. You can pretty much be guaranteed at least 1 crit, which will, of course, then trigger his cleanse on critical special attack. So basically, it's 270% damage to all enemies, a very high likelihood of clearing the latest status ailment safely. And then it also says for the next 3 turns, the caster deals 450% damage to a random enemy at the end of each turn, and boost the health of themselves with 50% of the damage dealt. This character can trigger this effect only once per turn. Well, it does say only once, so that's not really that shocking. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, this means that this character is the gift that just keeps giving, right? So after you cast your special, for the following 3 turns, he's going to continue to snipe a random target each turn. Now, I'm assuming this operates in a buff-style effect, and that's worth noting, because if this is indeed a buff that's placed on him, it doesn't say it isn't dispellable, and it doesn't say it can't be stolen, which is even more important, and we'll get into that. So, actually, let's just do that now. We're at the end of the special. Let's talk about the pros and the cons. All right. I do like this. I like the idea of him doing the additional damage each turn. That's really a fun ability to make him into a hit-all that also functions as a sniper. A 450% hit at 1964 attack power should not be underestimated. Basically, this guy's more or less casting 4 specials, right? Because you're going to get a hit-all turn 1, and then you get 3 turns of sniping hits at 450% damage each turn from a 1964 attack rating character, which is probably about let's say around 1800 to 2000 hit each turn. So that's significant. Again, though, I think it's important to point out that his downside is that this will function in a buff-like status. And if that's the case, what that really means is that in reality, it can be dispelled and it can be stolen. And I think the stealing part of it is maybe the scarier part here, right? Can you imagine that you give this over to your opponent's side and you're giving them for 3 turns of snipes on you instead? Like, or I guess maybe by the time they steal it, there'd only be 2 turns remaining. But regardless, like, it's a really powerful buff to steal. And I would definitely consider that if I was going up against this guy. I have several characters that can steal buffs, whether it be Nibbles as a healer or Diachen, also a healer, I suppose. I mean, just fun ways to possibly take this and utilize it from my side. So I think that is something that you really have to be concerned with when using this guy defensively. Now, offensively, you could just avoid heroes that steal buffs. But I just want to point out the glaring hole that can be taken advantage of this guy on defense. Okay, so where are we rating this guy overall? Like I said, I think he's a good hit all operating at fast speed. His crits have that chance to do the extra damage. So that 270% seems low, but ultimately if you add the extra 50% damage, that's going to be a 405% hit to anyone he crits, right? So that makes it sound a lot better. At first you're like 270, that's so low, but he's probably functioning at like a 60% crit rate. Well, actually he's a rogue. So especially if you've got a rogue troop on him, he's going to be functioning at 65% crit rate. So that's significant. It means that he likely crits 2 out of 3 people that he hits. So if you get lucky, you're probably critting 3 people if you out of 5. If you get unlucky, 2 people out of 5. But regardless, it's going to be a much stronger hit on the people it crits. Okay, so the snipe each turn again functions possibly in the same way. Like I think it should also trigger the extra damage from his crits. So that 450% could end up being a 675% crit to a single target. That's going to sting a lot. That's going to break well into the 2000 range. So you're probably doing closer to like 21 or 2200 if it crits. That's a really nice solid hit. So I'm going to operate this guy or give this guy an 8 out of 10, mostly because I think in reality he's a good versatile attacker, but his sort of debuff being able to be stolen on defense makes him a bit of a liability. I think I would maybe choose someone else. But, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Look, the same thing could be said for Salome and her buffs that she puts up on everyone to shoot the rays. And in reality, everyone uses Salome, right? So, like, I guess it doesn't really matter that much that he's got a juicy buff that can be stolen. He can still function pretty well. But I think 8's the right area. I think he's going to be good, significant, well above average, but not necessarily in game-changing mode. So there you have it, folks. Like, congrats if you pull him. Definitely level him up. Like, all of these Outlaws are just phenomenal heroes with their passive package and everything else. Like, I think there's maybe only been 2 that I was like, I don't know if I would level this guy. Like, and that's not really that many. Like, let's see who. Okay, this guy was a bit of a underwhelming guy. He's okay, but he didn't necessarily like break the mold. But some of these other guys have just been absolute beasts. This guy is also a little bit challenging to utilize correctly, but otherwise just really good stuff. All right, well, you know what? I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I guess the last thing I should mention is the red lucky summon. Look, if you're a newer player, this is a fantastic way to go. Like, if you're building your roster and a character at 1450-ish range is going to be a increase to your roster, then please, by all means, participate in this summon. 6 out of 10 of these guys are going to have costumes, and that's really good for new players. Now, if you've reached mid-tier or even end-tier, I don't think these guys are particularly helpful to you, and that's fine. They're just not, right? So even for me, I don't gain anything out of collecting a new 1460 character that I probably won't level to the max. I won't. So I've been saving my red lucky coins. I think I'll probably just wait until they consider putting some of the Outlaws in there, and I'll throw my chances at them then. I don't have to rush, and I'd rather just stack some red lucky coins for the future. And I think that's ultimately going to be the better play for me, even if this is thinking ahead 6 to 8 months. So be it, you know? So I don't know where you're at, but just keep that in mind. All right, I appreciate everyone. We will go ahead and catch up with you next time. Thanks for tuning in.